You're now listening to the UCFB podcast. I'm Damarni Poku, with my two guests, Dylan and Connor. How are you today, lad?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you.
How are you dealing with the whole coronavirus thing?
I mean, it's a bit tedious at the minute, but I'm getting through it slowly but surely.
Yeah, definitely.
Personally, just been staying at home. It's a little bit of a struggle without any football, but
yeah,
what can you do?
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Well, today we're gonna get into a little bit about that on the football side, about how this pandemic has affected the football world. Also going to talk a little bit about UCFB and their phenomenal season as a whole. And then so let's just get right into it. With this pandemic, it's almost difficult to see how football will recover. Like, obviously it sounds horrible, but how do you guys think football will recover from this, considering like financially, just returning fans, everything as a whole? You want to go first, Dylan?
I'm not really sure. I think the only way we're going to find out is when it happens. So right now, everyone has a lot of opinions about what needs to be done, what should be done, what should have happened. But I think in England and in other countries, everyone's taking the right precautions, stopping football. I don't think fans should be able to be back in stadiums for a while. I'm not sure how they're going to deal with the returning season and stuff, but yeah, just we have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. You, Connor?
I think Dylan summed it up pretty well. I think there really is no way that you can tell what's going to happen at the minute. Like, people are trying to come up with different solutions, like shortening the games down to 70 minutes. Or I read something today about allowing teams to make 5 subs instead of 3 to keep players fitter and healthier.
Yeah.
I don't see how it's going to work out, because obviously there's still a lot of tension and confusion in the air regarding how to even finish the seasons currently. Like, because there's no fair way to do it, really. Someone's going to be unhappy and teams are going to start trying to sue. But it's not too bad for the bigger clubs because they can afford it financially. But for the smaller clubs that are battling relegation, say in League 2, that are in the relegation zone at the minute, but maybe still had a game in hand or a couple of games in hand, which would have helped them stay up. And then obviously they get relegated by default, and then financially they never recover from it, and you never know what could happen. So it's not really fair on anyone at the minute. But yeah, it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of relegation and stuff, you saw in France with the cancellation of League 1 with Amiens, and because they're about to get relegated as a result of this, and also Lyon as well, because they were obviously competing for that Champions League spot. The thing is, what I found interesting is France actually took a completely different approach from Holland, who also cancelled the season. However, they did not crown a champion. So Dylan, what do you think the Premier League should do? And do you agree with Connor that no one would be happy, or do you think there's a way that you can sort something out? I mean, me personally, I always think that why not? I know it'll compromise the start of next season, but I think why not just, whenever you actually can carry on the season, however long it may take, just finish this season, and if the next season has to start later, sorry, then why not? But I don't know what you think.
In terms of how the Dutch and French FA handled it, I think it's unfortunate that Ajax didn't get the title, considering they were first. Voiding the seasons one way to deal with it, but I think you can argue that it's unfair for Ajax to not get the title. For the League One, obviously PSG got the title, but then some of the teams got relegated and stuff like that. It's difficult for them because I don't know. You don't know how it affects them financially. Whereas if PSG being the bigger club at the top, it's fine for them. They got the title. They're happy. But if you're a team that's getting relegated, and there was a chance that you could have fought for your survival, you can see why it's unfair. In terms of the Premier League, I think a league title should be given, which would go to Liverpool. Obviously, I think for the integrity of the competition, this season has to be finished. I think they need to deal with that first before they decide how to handle the next season.
Yeah. And you, Connor?
I think Dhylan summed it up pretty well with the regards to the difference between the Dutch league and the French league. They've both took the polar opposite approaches, and neither approach is really fair. Obviously, Ajax not being crowned champions, and then in the French league, the teams being relegated that, as Dhylan said, could have fought for their survival at the end of the season. Obviously, there's always going to be a set of fans that's not happy with how it's ended. So I think, for the integrity of the Premier League, they need to finish it, even if it means that they have to go next year without a season and start at the proper time in 2022. It's just, I think, first and foremost, they need to work out how to finish this season and then set plans from there. But that's the most important thing at the minute, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I was reading somewhere that if football, because they've launched the Project Restart whole operation thing, and they were trying to get it done in June, which I don't know if that's gonna happen now, but I read that it'll be the longest wait between fixtures since 1963 with the big freeze. And I just thought that was interesting. What do you think with the argument, Connor, that restarting football, albeit behind closed doors, would one concern I've heard a lot is that it will take away essential emergency staff. What would you, if you're the Premier League, what would you retort that with? Or could you retort that?
Sorry, can you just repeat that question?
With the Premier League trying to restart in June, I think behind closed doors, I would assume. I've heard concerns raised about, because there has to be a certain amount of emergency staff on hand. I've heard concerns being raised about that taking away essential staff that could be put to good use elsewhere. If you were the Premier League, how would you get around that issue, if you can at all?
I think it's people are right to be concerned about it, because obviously with the volume of people currently ill and even dying in the hospitals, I think any football is really not an essential during something like this, and for them to be taking away essential staff, I think it would be quite unfair and quite unsafe really for the country. But I don't really see how they're going to get around that issue, because if they want to restart the football as soon as possible, they're going to need these probably even more medical staff than they would usually have at a normal game, just because of how the risk to people, and obviously football players can't really keep a social distance during a match. So I think it is quite unfair, and they'd have to really sit down and think about what they were going to do about that before they make any hasty decisions to bring the league back, even behind closed doors. And also, even if it's behind closed doors, you're probably going to have volumes of fans gathering outside the stadium, like in the Champions League game with PSG. So I don't think it's a hard one to get round, really.
Yeah, definitely. I've also heard, as you mentioned earlier about possibly shortening the halves, which I completely am against. I've also heard a suggestion being thrown around about players wearing masks while playing. What do you think about that, Dhylan? Would you be up for that, or?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure entirely how it would affect the players' breathing on the pitch. I saw that some Premier League officials were raising concerns about returning so early. I think the concern shouldn't be about when to return. It should be about returning and ensuring the complete safety of the players and staff and everyone involved in the process of the fixtures coming back. Yeah, I'm not sure about players wearing masks on the pitch. That might affect them like more than we think. I know the professional athletes, but it's even 90-minute games, it can affect them.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on, time to talk about UCFB. I think it's just been an amazing season. When you see it, 6 out of the 9 football teams all winning titles. I think 3 of them unbeaten at that. For the first time, UCFB is in Bucks's top 15 ranking. What do you think of the season, Connor? Like, how like, did you expect this before the season, or?
I think for me, following the seconds, they've always had a decent side, but for the last 3 years before this season, they hadn't won the title. And I feel like so a few of the players mentioned that in past seasons, there hasn't really been that sort of team atmosphere. It's been more individuals, like big egos and stuff. So obviously this season, it was a real great bunch of lads, and they just put 100% in every single week. And obviously they deserve to finish their season unbeaten and win the title. I think they won it by about 9 points in the end, which was rightly deserved because they were blowing teams away week after week. And yeah, just fantastic season and a real pleasure to follow them, really.
Yeah. And you, Dylan, what do you think of the season?
Yeah, over the course of the season, I've been following their team. Unfortunately, they didn't win the league. They finished second place, just 2 points short. But in terms of performance, they had a great season. Did well. It was a rocky start. They lost their first game and drew their second. But after that, over time, as the players got more and more familiar with each other, they started doing better. And if they had that later form earlier on, they would have been promoted with the rest of the UCFB teams. Yeah, the seconds did well, winning the league unbeaten, and the first team won the league too, and they actually reached the cup final. It's the first time UCFB win a cup final. Unfortunately, they didn't win, but it shows the progress, how far they come, how far they can get, how much further they can go.
Yeah, definitely. And off the back of such a remarkable season, 3 players have actually attracted the attention of the England national team. Winger Will Ozono, left back Ben Woods, and striker Henry Lampid. Sorry, I butchered his name there. Who have all had phenomenal seasons. Now they've all got call-ups to the English university squad, and it's just amazing. Dylan, did you expect this before the season started, or and how do you assess the seasons individually throughout the season?
I think with UCFB being a football university and them having so many resources, it's almost expected that this happens. There's going to be certain individual players that stand out from time to time. You're going to see other teams, wanting those players. Even in the women's league, who UCFB women's team won the league unbeaten as well, won every game, I think. Some of their I think their striker got called up to a team as well. With the more so than other unis, you're going to see this from UCFB.
Yeah, definitely. Now, with all that being said, with this pandemic, how do you think, Connor, this will affect UCFB going forward? Will it have any effect? Will it on the players, the whole staff, just as a whole? What do you think?
I think it'll have a big effect next year because the teams that were successful were mainly based second and third years, and some of the star players were third years who have obviously left the uni this year. So the gaps in the teams now, that they would have had trials to find new players. For example, last year I think there was 300 people turned up to the first round of trials.
Yeah.
But obviously, with the new social distancing stuff in place, they're going to really struggle to get that volume of people at one trial. So whether they'll have to have smaller trials or have like segmented trials, I think they're just going to struggle to fill the big gaps left by the third years when they're struggling to adapt to a new format of trialing new players. So I think, that would be the main concern, trying to get new talent in to boost the teams so they don't drop a level in the next season.
Yeah, definitely. And what do you think, Dylan? Do you agree?
I think obviously UCFB was founded very recently, so all of the football teams are in on much lower leagues, and there's not going to be any rush to start those soon. So even with the university, doing the trials, having the teams, these university leagues might not be restarted. They might be delayed another year or two, because there's no immediate rush for those to be restarted. They've got to take the necessary precautions first.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as you said, UCFB definitely at a disadvantage, having been found very recently. So it could have a profound effect on the team. But hey, hopefully not. But lads, it's been a pleasure talking about everything with you. Hopefully it all returns to normal. I think what I read yesterday of the Prime Minister, it said by August maybe they might start slowly bringing football fans back to stadiums. So yeah, hopefully, because me personally, I don't know what you guys think. I just can't stand watching football being played behind closed doors. But I don't know what you guys think about that.
I agree with you on that one. I think it just seems wrong.
Yeah,
it's football without the fans is nothing, as they always say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, thank you, lads, for coming today. Hope you're all well. Hope families are good. Yeah, and we'll see you soon.